everyone to this meeting of the Dunedin City Council. Welcome councillors, staff, public and the media. Our prayer or blessing today is going to be led by Kristen Mowat from Brahma Kumari and has taken time off from her job as co-principal of Logan Park High School. Thank you, Kristen.
By turning within and listening to silence, may we be guided by our highest virtues. May our decisions be wise and tempered by compassion. May our egos become quiet and our kindness be heard. May we listen more and seek to understand others. May we have the humility and determination to find the best solutions. May we continue to replenish ourselves so that we can better serve others. May we continue to make time to turn within and listen to silence. Om Shanti and Amini.
Right, councillors, as usual, we start with public forum. The first submitter on our agenda, however, is an apology, so I'll move on to the second one. And Marty Mackenzie Everett, Lucy Johnson and Jonathan Errol, who were attended Aspiring Leaders Forum, are here to report back to us on their experience. Welcome.
Good afternoon, councillors. I'm Jono. I'm one of the 3 lucky young leaders to attend the Aspiring Leaders Forum in Wellington recently. So, firstly, I'd like to thank the Dunedin City Council, the Otago Community Trust and the Mayoral Office in particular for nominating us to attend such a fantastic and transformative event recently in Wellington. The forum was quite different to what I expected, in a really positive way. It was transformative and eye-opening. I went in expecting to be told what makes a good leader, how to be a good leader and how to utilise my skills to make those around me better. Instead, the forum brought together a large group of young people who were able to discuss their diverse backgrounds, their values and what drove us to do good for the community and in our careers to make a positive impact. And we looked to find what our values are and our driving forces. And I came out of it far better off and able to contribute to my community and make a positive impact in my future career. It was inspiring to meet like-minded people, many of whom I'm lucky enough to call friends now. And we had the opportunity to hear from a range of speakers, many of whom are proven leaders in their industry, including the likes of Mike King, Petra Bagust, and at the time Prime Minister Winston Peters, all of whom were extremely engaging and willing to engage in discussion on their path and their leadership experiences. The speaker I found personally most interesting was Daniel Flynn. He is a social entrepreneur who started the brand Thank You. Many of their products you'll find at the local supermarket. And through this, he raises money to help the impoverished and developing world to contribute to gain access to clean water for drinking and the like. And he took us through his journey becoming a leader and how he took a simple dream of having a positive impact with selling simple products and how he made that a reality through his drive and his belief in an idea of how he could run a business different to how businesses are traditionally run, and how he instilled this belief in everyone around him, And it was interesting for me to hear how he approached quite difficult circumstances and situations, and his approach to leadership, and how he took what was a simple idea and made that dream a reality. So I'd like to thank you again for this opportunity. It's had a massive impact on my life so far, and I'm sure it will continue to. I hope many other young leaders in Dunedin get to experience what we've been able to experience in this forum. Thank you.
Kia ora, my name is Lucy Johnston. I'm in my final year of study and on my final student placement just up the road at Oranga Tamariki, the Ministry for Children. I have been lucky enough to be offered a job to stay, so I'm really excited to be able to directly put what I've learned and in Forum right back into the heart of the Dunedin community. For me, I think the key features of ALF, the Aspiring Leaders Forum, were highlighted in kind of the importance of understanding yourself and your values and what makes you tick before you can efficiently lead anybody else. I think the forum provided opportunities of all forms of leadership for others to shine, and mirroring what Jono said, we were all like-minded people, but all unique and individual in our forms of leadership. I think for me the key features were around self-exploration, self-discovery and self-acceptance throughout all of the amazing speakers that we had. For me, some of the highlights were to sit and be vulnerable. Often in my roles I ask that of people, and it was highly transformative for me to sit on the other side and have those vulnerable moments and be able to explore that within myself and kind of gain a better understanding of perhaps the experience of people that I work with. For me as well, Petrobagis was a huge highlight for me around a woman getting up and speaking about expectations of young women in our society today. And again, another classic conferencey thing, I got to meet people I wouldn't have ordinarily, and similar to Jono, I can call some people I met at Forum friends for life. Some of the key learnings for me were through self-acceptance. I had this massive revelation the other day that I'm a massive perfectionist, and I was really excited to learn this. And I went home and I was like to my flatmate, oh my gosh, I learned today that I'm a perfectionist. And they looked at me and were like, yeah, Lucy, didn't you know that? Cool. So for me, Forum actually highlighted the fact, and Petra said this as well, it takes both the light and the dark to make up who we are. And I think through this self-awareness, I can be more aware of how things like my perfectionism are really great and a strength for me, but also how that limits me sometimes in terms of perhaps energy consumption. I really can't thank the council and the Otago Community Trust enough for allowing us the opportunity to go. I hope that that you guys will continue to send delegates in the future. I would recommend perhaps if there was a later flight, because the days are very, very long, so maybe sending delegates up the night before, because they are full days. I do just want to say again, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to attend. I'm so grateful and excited to put what I've learned into my social work practice and right back into the heart of the Dunedin community. So thank you.
Kia ora koutou. My name is Mari Mackenzie Everett. I am originally from Auckland. I moved down to Dunedin early last year to study law and politics at Otago. I am also involved in the DCC's Youth Action Committee, so shout out. I'm the volunteer coordinator and the communications officer for this year, and I've really, really enjoyed having that sort of platform to start to create communication between the young adults of Dunedin and the DCC. So, like what Jono said, I was not expecting the Aspiring Leaders Forum to be what it was. I think everyone went up to Wellington expecting a conference that was very linear. Here are your values and take that into your career or study or anything like that. But what we experienced was something that stripped you right down to your very basic values, and you learn to build back up from those and understand yourself and those around you. One of the key features of ALF that I really enjoyed was the fact that we spent our first day in Wellington in Parliament. It was hugely inspirational to have these human connections with people that we view as leading our country. And it was really interesting because a lot of us expected it to be very political, but it wasn't. It wasn't about, the parties or our differences in our beliefs. It was about the similarities in our beliefs, the similarities in our stories and the things that we've pushed through to pursue what we believe in. We got to spend time with individual politicians, which I found amazing. I spent time with Louise Upston, and we talked for hours just about our stories and our hardships, which was it was just humanizing, to create those connections. So one of the personal highlights for me was the fact that when you arrive at the Aspiring Leaders Forum, you get sorted into randomized groups of about 10 people. And in the beginning, you spend this, a while getting to know each other. And never in my life have I become so close with a group of people so quickly. I was well known as the girl in my group who was always crying. It was a very emotionally raw time. And you experience so many highs and lows that you become so emotionally drained, but in the most amazing way possible. And the way I explained it when I was at the forum was, it was kind of like going on a marathon. It hurts a little bit when you start, and it gets kind of harder, and then at the end of the marathon, you sit there and you feel so much stronger and built up for it. And the connections that you make with those people at ALF, even though you don't meet everyone, you know that you can connect with anyone who went to the Aspiring Leaders Forum in such a raw and vulnerable way, because everyone went through the same thing as you, which is an absolutely incredible experience. So my key learning would be sort of based around the idea of vulnerability. You can't be a leader if you can't connect with people and share your values and your hardship and your story. I think making yourself human and showing the pain that you've been through creates a connection with the people that you're leading. And it means that you don't think that you're better than them. You're on the same level. And I think that was a beautiful thing that we all learned at ALF. It's about presenting yourself as, it's not about presenting yourself as unbreakable and undefeatable. It's about being brave enough to be vulnerable and accept that vulnerability and leadership come hand in hand. ALF is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for young adults, and I can't express enough how significantly it changed me as a person. I'll take all of these lessons and learnings with me into my career, and I know that I'll never look back. So a huge, huge thank you to the Mayor's Office and the Otago Community Trust for this incredible experience, and I hope that you continue offering funding to send young adults from Dunedin to ALF, because to send young leaders to the Aspiring Leaders Forum is to enhance the skill set of our region. Thank you.
Thank you. If the councillors have any questions, would you be happy to answer them?
Absolutely.
Councillors, are there any? Councillor Gary.
Well, congratulations on your achievement and for being so honest in your presentation. The fact that we chose 3, not 2 this time speaks of the quality of those who applied. I'm interested to know, in commending this experience to your peers, what might be the one thing that you would say to them? I mean, you've covered some of it in your presentation, but just a quick fire from each of you.
There's a lot of opportunities out there to go to forums or meet leaders from around the country, but I don't think there's a forum like this at all. Like we all kind of alluded to, it was completely different to what we expected, because you can quite often go and get, someone will tell you or mentor you through situations, but this kind of gave us skills and experience, which I think we can translate to all areas of life through our personal life. I know it's definitely affected me with some of my close friends, but also through our leadership, obviously, in our career or our studies. So I think it kind of covers quite a broad base and changes you as a person rather than as just in your career.
Great question. I often, when I think about forum, I don't really know how to describe it. As you asked, I think if you want to challenge every aspect of who you are and come out the other side thinking, what on earth have I just been to, and feel like, I guess, some self-reflection, some really important tools, and just to go and have full trust in a system and in a process, it's a fantastic forum for that. Yeah, thank you.
I would say the biggest thing that I would tell anyone going to the Aspiring Leaders Forum is to be prepared to strip everything down and be prepared to be open and honest. Being vulnerable is hard, especially for people who are leaders. You know, we like to present ourselves as people who are always put together, always organised, always ready to go and bulletproof. But yeah, the biggest thing I learned at the Aspiring Leaders Forum is that it's actually okay to be vulnerable, and it's actually okay to break down sometimes, because then you can build yourself back up.
Thank you for your honest answers, and I hope you'll encourage others to apply.
Thank you very much. Two lessons there for all of us, I think. Thank you. Our next speaker to address Council is Barry Williams, the Chair of the Strathtyre Community Board. Welcome, Barry.
Thank you very much, Council, for the opportunity to voice our great shock the other day. First of all, I'd like to put an apology in for Jacinda Stevenson and Mark O'Neill, who are very close friends of the deceased or accident people in Dumback, so otherwise we'd have a full contingent. We at a community board meeting on Thursday and were devastated or extremely shocked when Mike, luckily through his council report, read out about the suspension bridge, or the swing, used to be swing bridge, option that they were looking to move at the council meeting today. We had a drop-in meeting at Middlemarch last month, a very, very good attendance. In fact, I think the staff thought it was unbelievable, the attendance, and it wasn't 100%, but it was a huge number moved and suggested that we stick with option 2, which was the new bridge on the old site. And when we had the meeting the other night, the option came up that they'd shift the bridge to the side, which I don't know how many councillors have been up and had a look at where it is, but I would venture to say that there would be huge costs to shift it, and it would look double as bad as what the main street of Milton does with a dog leg in it, and I think it's just ridiculous. So it did get a little bit of concern, or a lot of concern from us, as you'll see by the attendance today. We would think if that happens, it's a complete waste of time to have a drop-in centre or drop-in supposedly meeting, and we just think that it just eliminates why we're there, and I'd feel very annoyed that the staff can make some of these decisions and not find fit to notify us. And in fact, I never knew, apart from what Mike said on the Thursday night, till Friday when I phoned staff, and all I got was an apology that they hadn't phoned us a couple of weeks beforehand. So I think some of that's pretty much unacceptable. So yeah, that's probably where I'm coming from. So we would, as a community, like to stick to option 2. And I think I have spoke with Kate this morning, and there's some other options that are floating around. So we would probably get the bridge up and going, and we'll look at put the pillars somewhere sometime. May not be there, could work in the township or somewhere else. So I'd like Leon, being a landowner just over the river, who's affected probably as much as one of the other farmers. So.
Yeah, thanks, Barry. I'm disappointed to be here again because when we attended I'm speaking on behalf of myself and Lenore and Andrew Templeton. When we spoke at the infrastructure services meeting back in June, I thought we were pretty much cut and dried that you would carry on with a new bridge, subject to the consultation, and we would end up with a new bridge with some tipping your hat, if you like, to the heritage of the old one. So I'm very disappointed that little progress has been made. We don't seem to have gone anywhere. We support the option one, in fact, the new bridge, shift the piers and stuff somewhere else and build another replica. The fact of the matter is the bridge is completely destroyed. We're never going to get it back, so that's basically where we're coming from. We'd like to see it done sooner rather than later. Just remind you, it's 14 months since the bridge disappeared, and we need to get on with this immediately. I'm not sure that you're going to actually get it done within this coming year. If you get started this year, it'll be good. One can only hope. Just a few further thoughts. I think the people involved in this building the original bridge, if they'd thought it was going to last 135 years, they'd have been pretty pleased, and I think they'd like to see that we were building a bridge that was going to last for 100 years as well. And any token attempt at a replica would probably be a bit of an insult. A replica in the present position would be a bit of an insult to their original intentions. Thank you very much.
Councillors, any questions? Councillor Vandervis.
The option 2 that you favour says in brackets at the end that the stone pillars could be rebuilt in a new location adjacent to the bridge. Given that it's not going to be a suspension bridge, do you think there's really any point in rebuilding the stone pillars there or anywhere else?
I answer that. I think it's worthwhile building, but it could be in the township or somewhere else, Lee, to be fair. And that's probably, we look at either option 1 or 2.
Are you talking about just the pillars, or actually building a suspension bridge off the pillars somewhere else?
Well, that's another option that could be used, but let's get a usable bridge up and going, and then we can worry as funding permits to perhaps do the other at a later date.
So you'd be quite happy for the stone pillars material to be just stored somewhere in the meantime, go ahead, build the modern bridge and maybe worry about them later?
I see no reason why they can't stay stored where they are now.
Okay, thank you.
Any further questions, councillors? Councillor O'Malley.
Just a quick confirmation, because I thought, Barry, you said you wanted option 2.
Well, option 1 and 2 would fit into there. Option 3 is completely.
Okay, so it's just not option 3 is the feedback from the community board, but option 1 or 2?
Yep.
Cool, thanks.
Councillor Elder.
Just a question. So you're thinking keeping the road in a straight line is the best option?
Yes.
So rather than curving round. And have you any ideas around what you'd like to do with the pillars and the old bridge, like as a board?
There's a few things probably come to mind. We're looking to put a bridge over the end of the township for the rail trail for cyclists, and I just said today and thought about it that we could probably use half of the bridge that's in a cocky's paddock there now. We could put that over and put the pillars at each end, and it would be a replica of it, but on a smaller scale.
A mini kind of version for the cycle trail?
Yeah, we've talked about a bridge there we tried to clip on years ago, which we couldn't because of health and safety, and I don't know, it's just a thought that perhaps let's get the bridge built, and we'll certainly work together with Heritage Council or whoever and get them positioned somewhere else. Convenient.
Thank you.
Further questions, councillors? There are none? Okay. Thank you, guys.